In a game, when you want a new ability, you do not grind for hours. You just install it in one click, and now you have a new skills and capabilities you didn't before. Claude can now do the same with the power of skills. Think of them as add-ons you snap on, and now you have more custom knowledge and expertise on one particular task. And here's the part I love. You can install skills from the expert so you know how to details for more specific tasks. You can create your own based on your experience, and you can also browse the available ones by Anthropic. On this video, I'll show you how skills work, how to create one, how to install somebody else's, and also share some interesting examples of already popular skills. Let's get into it. Skill is simpler than it sounds. It's just a simple folder and a markdown file called ClaudeMD. Two lines matter the most: a name and then description when to use the skill. Under that, your actual how-to, a sequence of steps on how to perform a task. The steps itself, the formatting that you want, all of this is mentioned there. That is the whole thing. The name, the description, and then how-to steps. It's the part that makes it powerful. Claude has a limited working memory, so not a lot of things can fit at once. Your skill doesn't just sit there taking up the room. It stays out until your request matches the description of the skill. Then it loads in, Claude uses it, and then it clears out. That is why a skill beats a long prompt that takes a lot of your context. You can keep dozens of them, and they will be saved in your library of all of your skills. And there are two simple ways to use skills. Most of the time, the agent automatically matches the request to the description of the skill and loads it in. You can also manually call in any skill by doing / and then the name of the skill. But it's honestly very hard to memorize all of the skills you have, because right now I have more than 50, I think, so I would just recommend to make the description line very, very specific. First, one setup task. In settings under capabilities, turn on code execution and file creation. Good news, this also works on the free plan, so you do not need a paid plan to create the skills. Then open customize on the left sidebar and then click skills. Click on the plus, and then there are 3 ways of creating a skill. The simplest and the first one is create with Claude. So you'll just define a task, and then Claude will help you creating the skill and writing the how-tos. But you can also iterate and improve it. The second one is write skill instructions. So this is more manual, and if you already have a example or SOP of the steps, then you can use this one. And my favorite, you do not even need this menu. You just do the task manually with Claude and then reach the desired output and then ask it to package it as a skill. Anytime a Claude did the task and you like the result, you can just say at the end, package this as a skill. It turns the whole conversation into a reusable skill based on how you perform the task. One small tip. The thing that makes a good skill is the description line. This is the most common complaint. If the description line is very vague and you have multiple skills, then the right one wouldn't be called at the exact time when it would be needed. So be very specific in the description line when you want the skill to be used. For example, not writing helper, but instead use the skill when I write the weekly report on Fridays. Description is the line Claude reads when deciding if it's going to use the skill or not. Get it right and it triggers every time perfectly. Another tip, show good examples. Show examples of how you want it done, not a long list of not to-dos. So give it a format you like, if possible, a good example as a reference, and you're good. Not always have to build skills from scratch, you can install somebody else's. There are 2 ways to use other people's skills. First is built-in. Click the plus, then browse the skills. And here's a whole directory you can install in one click. The second is the skills you find in the world, like GitHub from YouTube creators. You have 2 easy options. The first one is easy. If you're using GitHub, copy the link to the GitHub and then talk to Claude and ask, please install this skill, and it's going to do automatically. Or you can download the skill file, then click the plus, then the create a skill, and then do upload a skill. The way both options work, it just depends how you want to do it. Always double check any skill before installing it. Ask Claude to verify it if there is any malicious there, and always just read or skim through it and see if anything is suspicious. Keep one easy habit, usually trust it first, but if not, skim through all of the files before installing them. Now moving on to the skills that are worth starting with. First win, start with the ones already created by the Anthropic. They are document skills, and they let Claude produce, instead of just a text file, PowerPoints, sheets, or work docs. They will be properly formatted, not just a text file, and you can edit it and modify it yourself. That is honestly the good starting point. And see how far it goes. Look at how other people create the skills. the most popular ones on the GitHub repositories or just from YouTube. And to give you a couple of examples, let's go through interesting ones. This one I think is pretty useful. It's a humanizer. You can download it from the GitHub, and it's essentially turning any like AI produced text to a more human-like. So it reduces the em dashes, it removes the giveaway phrases, and just makes it more human-like. And you can also teach it on your own examples, so it's going to be more like a real voice. Tens of thousands of people have started this skill, so you can install it from the GitHub repository. Another one turns a rough idea into a finished power deck, and you can use it from the HTML to get the visual understanding of the concepts. And it doesn't require us to know the design skills, we can just install it and use it. The interesting skill is the one that reads the X, YouTube, recent news, and tells you what people have been discussing and thinking to get the grasp on the trends. So it can be useful for projects as well as personal. In summary, skills are just a set of instructions you save once and then reuse many times. They only load when your request or task matches the description of a particular skill. You can build your own skills, install somebody else's, or browse the ones available by Anthropic. Honestly, almost any task that you do more than one time can be turned into a skill that will save you a lot of time in the future. And that same skill can hand somebody else a result very similar to yours without your knowledge and expertise. So you're not just saving yourself a time, you're putting your own expertise into a skill that can be reused, shared, or even sold. And if you want to understand the difference between the skills, projects, plugins, connectors, feel free to watch my Claude Cowork tutorial. And I'm putting the most useful, interesting, and popular skills in my Substack, so it's going to be linked below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope skills are very clear now and you will start building your own or trying somebody else's. Tell me in the comments which task are you turning into your first skill. I'll read every one. Thank you so much again.